So the characteristics of this Genji Monogatari is it shows a suffocating court life, meaning you are never alone. And somebody is constantly watching your behavior, your words, and so forth. But what is amazing from the Heian period, the Genji Monogatari, is it shows a rare glimpse of court ladies' lives. So, for example, there is a visitor, it's chapter 36. There is a visitor who's a Buddhist monk. You can see a Buddhist monk. And then Prince Genji, they are having conversation together. And then court ladies, they cannot sit together with male visitors, or even though are family members or religious figures. So they all have these beautiful silk banners, right? And then they overhear what they are talking about. And many people observed these beautiful, elaborate dresses. In the Heian period, there are certain beauty standards. So all the court ladies have long hair, it almost touches ankle. And then they have this multi-layer clothes, and it's called Juni Hitoe. You don't have to remember this, but if you want to search for it, you can see a modern reproduction of Juni Hitoe. Sorry, it's a J. Juni Hitoe, and Juni means 12 layers. So you can imagine how many layers are there. It's not always that 12 if you count, every single one of them. But the original idea is the court ladies in the Heian period, they wore 12 layers of long robes. So here again, you can see the connotations of the 12, layers, right? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Somehow, this can be almost 12 layers. So sometimes they can have this brief moment of facing each other, greeting each other, but lovers, especially Prince Genji and his love interest, they were never together. They were always surrounded by courtiers, somebody's listening, and they cannot really express their loves, and so forth. So this type of composition, where you are going to see inside the room, but normally if you are at their eye level, you will never see their face, right? Because these silk banners are hanging. So this type of composition is fuki nuki yatai. You will see this in your terms and definitions. Fuki nuki yatai means roof blown away. You will read more about this composition. So sort of a bird's eye perspective, and then you remove the roof, and then you can sort of swoon in and watch what they are doing or hear what they are saying. So this composition was very popular for Genji Monogatari. There are other types of stories, so I'm going to move on. You can search for other types of stories, but Genji Monogatari is definitely a story of romances among court ladies, and it shows the most rich settings, especially this is a palace, so you are going to see the beautiful sliding doors, they have a beautiful landscape on it, or these luxurious silk banners. If you roll it up, these ribbons can tie it up, so it's like a hanging banner kind of system, or like a what do we say, window treatment kind of options. So one large room can be divided into small sections. So there are many examples. Prince Genji is ill, not ill, like he's sitting and then playing this board game, like it's a black stone, white stone, like a board game. Then court ladies are very interested in what they are talking about, right? So they are eavesdropping outside, and so Bandai Nagon, unlike Genji, Bandai Nagon is a story of a general, so you can read about it. It's like a court conspiracy, but sometimes depending on the story, instead of showing that thick outlines and really well delineated interior, you are going to see some busy scenes like this. So this is one observed by Bandai Nagon. and in it, he saw like two boys fighting each other. So I want you to take a look at these like details, and they are so animated. So a lot of people say that beginning of the cartoon, right? The beginning of illustrated story, as we understand the cartoon, could have started as early as the Heian period. So there are a lot of interesting, funny stories, and this is the parade of the Bandainagun general, and the people on the horseback. They are police, and they are like criminals. You see higher generals and then foot soldiers, but then a little bit later you are going to see a group of criminals. And then this is a different story, Heiji Monogatari. There are like epic stories of violence. So do you see the head chopped off? Like this gruesome, like a battle scenes, blood everywhere, and then the palace is being burnt, the Sanjo Palace. So there are different types of stories. So depending on the type of audiences, you sometimes get this type of line drawing. There is no color. And then, you know, for the Buddhist temples, they also created this story of hells and vengeful ghosts. And then they will show this to their people. Or like 9 stages of decay. Like life is perilous and life is how can I say, they are not permanent. You know, anybody can lose and die. So that's the lessons of Buddhism. So you are going to see the beautiful young woman of a prime age. When she dies, eventually she goes back to this some bones and the earth. So that's the lesson. So what's the point of having beautiful collection of clothes or jewelry or gold coins? You know, like everything should be given to the Buddhist temple, and your body eventually will be perished into these wretched conditions.